The all-new Harley Davidson Sportster S at 1252 cc. It's a water-cooled 60-degree V-twin engine with advanced electronics. I should note, this is my first ever experience with a Harley Davidson, so I can compare it to my impression of a Harley. My thought would be a wild and untamed bike that would be anything but smooth. This bike is far from my impression. The throttle was nice and responsive in a linear way, and the shifting was effortless. Well, besides the forward foot position, which is way different than a sport bike with rear sets. I did learn that there are parts to adjust the controls for mid-mounts or mid-controls for a sportier ride and for shorter riders. Coming in at 121 horsepower, the power and sound of the bike was very satisfying. I enjoy the low-end, on-demand power, and the torque was quite fantastic. I rode the bike in rain mode, road mode, and sport mode. Sport mode gave me the feeling that I was definitely not riding a cruiser, thus I left it in sport mode. I was lucky enough to get some time with this bike and ride it around downtown Washington, D.C., as well as on Potomac Parkway up towards Rock Creek Park for some great sweepies and long, faster turns. Folks listening should note, if it hasn't been clear enough yet, that I'm a sport bike rider that's used to performance and bikes that are much higher off the ground. With the Sportster being a bike that is much lower to the ground and with a big front wheel, understanding how to maneuver at no and low speeds did require some awareness on my part. Once on the road and riding, I very much enjoyed the relaxed position while riding at a spirited pace. Speaking of power, this bike has plenty of it. This bike would be great for casual riding through the city or spirited riding through long sweepers in the canyons. Once you get going, the larger front wheel makes the bike feel like it's on rails going through the turn. I'm still not used to the forward position of both my legs and arms. However, I do feel like it's a cool riding position and style. With a solid bike like this, it's important to have solid brakes, and that it did. Stopping on a hill, the back brake did definitely help. Getting out of that stop did take a second for me to think about my balance and my foot position. The center of gravity on the bike is low, which makes the bike feel planted. I was a little nervous that the display and controls would be confusing, and was relieved when they were intuitive and user-friendly. One thing I haven't talked about are the looks. I'm a sport bike rider, yet I was and have been attracted to this new Sportster S. Honestly, it surprised me. This color combo of white, brown, and black is on point. In short, this bike would be fun to add to the stable. Feel free to drop a comment down below on what your thoughts are, and stay tuned in to see more riding footage and commentary on the new Sportster S by Harley Davidson. As you see, I got to ride through the city on this bike. Washington, D.C. does have a lot of potholes and uneven pavement. I will say that the stiffer suspension of this bike meant I felt a lot of the imperfections in the road. What was super smooth was the clutch and the brake levers. They were smooth like butter. No lie, I was not expecting that. I thought they would be a lot tighter and stiffer. Let's go back to the power. This bike has a lot of it and a lot of torque. I really did enjoy the torque and the power. It put a smile on my face. The bike is hot, but not that hot. I did notice it after a while riding in the city. Years ago when I started riding, Harley looked and seemed very intimidating. Their bikes seemed big. And I will say in recent years, they have really reinvented themselves with their new lineup of bikes. The Sportster S is a bike I would recommend. Being a sport bike rider, I would likely change the foot position to the mid-mount foot position for that sportier feel. But other than that, This bike is a go. I love the power, love the torque, love the controls, love the looks of it. So with that, thank you very much to Harley Davidson for letting me ride their bike and for a fantastic weekend up in Washington, D.C. Hope you found my review insightful and useful for your knowledge around the new Sportster S. I'd love to hear your impressions of the bike. Drop them down below. Now to the ride with some music. If you're interested in my outfit, my boots are Style Martin, my pants are Pando Moto, and my jacket is a Roland Sands jacket. All available at Revzilla. Links in the description. My review would not have been made possible without Motul Fluid Force. So big thank you to Motul, which was the official oil partner for the 2021 Centennial Ride. The Centennial Ride was organized by the Women's Motorcycle Tours, which is reinventing the way women motorcycle riders come together.